What's going on, guys? Fun with Eyes back again, and welcome to a video response to JT's Knife Life. He put out an awesome video today entitled The $150 Collection Challenge, with the premise being, if you had only $150 to start a knife collection, what would you include in that collection? And that encompasses all of your knives, all sharp things, from fixed blades to small knives to everyday carry knives to everything. What would you choose to put in there? Now, to non-knife people, this might seem like an easy task. You probably have money left over that you could allocate to different things. But to knife people, to us, to you, this is quite the undertaking. So I gave it a little thought, came up with my own list, and I would definitely like to hear from you guys, especially you content creators out there. If you have your own channel, let's definitely keep this ball rolling. JT's Knife Life, I'll show you here. He came up with this, and I think this is a wonderful idea, and I think it'll definitely gain some traction. So I kind of assessed my knife categories, if you will, logically. The ones I used the most is the one I was going to allocate the most funds to and the most thought to. And undoubtedly, the classification of knife I use the most is the everyday carry knife. That's what you're looking at, mostly folders here, just some random ones I grabbed. And a lot of my favorite everyday carry folders are 100 plus, and that kind of immediately took them out of the game. Stuff like my ZTs that cost over $200, this is not a possibility. It's not feasible for this challenge, so I'd exclude those. I had to look more in the budget realm of things, more in the high value kind of bang for buck. And I love my Kershaw Launch 1, and this is going to be right around the $100 mark. But that's 2/3 of my knife collection in one knife, and I just couldn't do that. So I moved down to the Endura, which I have not reviewed yet, but I've been loving it. And this is right around 70. Now, that was a real strong contender for just a strict EDC knife. Kind of do it all in your pocket, everyday kind of knife. But I had an epiphany. It was going to be the Knockout. Of course it was going to be the Knockout. My first love when it came to knives over 50 bucks. I mean, this thing was my absolute favorite knife for a very long time, and I still really love it. I mean, I can't see myself getting rid of this in any circumstance. And this came in, according to Amazon. Quick little search here. Sorry, I bumped the camera there. I don't know why I have some regression analysis homework with this little sheet. The Knockout came in at only $59. So $59 for the knife that I'm going to use the most and carry the most, I thought was just fine. This is USA made. Kershaw is one of my favorite companies. It's speed safe, so I don't love assisted knives, but you can open it with a flipper, the thumb studs. It's got aluminum handles, Sandvik 14C28N, and yes, that $59 price was this coloration with the DLC coated blade. So I think that's a pretty awesome deal. So if you're looking for a Knockout, this is the time to grab it. But a sub frame lock with a deep carry clip, I mean, just super thin overall, nice and strong. A great EDC pick in my mind. Now let's move down to my second class of knives that I use the most, and that is kind of your outdoors kind of fixed blades. I mean, that's this kind of knife. And yes, this is brand new. You guys probably haven't seen the unboxing video for this one quite yet. This is the Tops Baja 4.5. And it definitely embodies the size and philosophy of use, if you will, for this next class. And that is kind of just a belt knife, an adventure knife, a hiking knife, a camping knife. But that Baja 4.5 is much outside the price range for this challenge. So what in the world am I going to choose? Well, it's a knife that I've actually never owned, but I know that would suit me quite well, and that's the Schrade CHF 42D. You guys can definitely look that up if you want, but it only costs $38.50 on Amazon. And it has, if I'm not mistaken, Grivery handles, 1095 steel, a full flat ground blade, and it's around 5 inches of blade. So it's a tiny bit bigger than that. But I think it would serve as a high value belt kind of companion knife. And just to show you what that might look like, this is a Schrade CHF 16. I believe this is 9CR18 MOV, but Schrade to me really presents a whole lot of high value. I know they're not the best construction, best steel, but for what you get for the money, I mean, sometimes you just can't beat it with some of those designs. And I think the 42D would serve me well across the board in an outdoor setting. Now, the third knife classification is You could throw a whole lot of names on this one, but this is going to be my travel knife. Now, I do travel occasionally for work, and a lot of times it takes me to some not so knife friendly states. And a lot of those states have, or counties or even cities, have laws that restrict blade length to under 3 inches. And that's why I would go with the Bird Meadowlark 2 in FRN. That only costs $19.77. And really, it's around the same size as this Bird knife. This is the Hawkbill. So it's kind of like a Delica. It's the Bird equivalent of the Spyderco Delica with 8CR 13 MOV steel. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a budget Spyderco. That's what Birds are, and they present extremely high value. So I mean, kind of mix these together and you're going to have your Bird Meadowlark 2. Now, along with that being a travel knife, it's also going to be my loaner knife and my beater knife. So that's the knife that I'm going to have maybe in my bag every day that I'm carrying the knockout, that I'm at home or, I'm going to work, that sort of thing. That way, if someone needs a knife, we have this huge cutting task, somebody doesn't bring a knife, which they always don't, and I always have the spare. That's a knife that'll get dished out because it's not quite as important to me. If it gets lost, it gets broken, I mean, there's an issue with it. I'm okay with the Meadowlark 2 taking a lot of abuse. And I think as a loaner, as a legal knife under 3 inches, as a traveling companion, I think that would be a good way to go. Now, the fourth category is something funny that I thought of that I can't believe I almost left out. And that's the fun category. I mean, hell, my name is is Fun with Knives. I had to throw something in there that was fun and big, and that is the Cold Steel Kukri Plus Machete. It's a 13-inch blade, and yes, it is a Kukri costing $16.79 on Amazon right now. And you guessed it, that would be for pure fun. That'd be for making slow motion videos of me chopping up fruit and hitting 2 liters, as well as a little bit of utility if I really needed to break down some firewood or do some brush clearing. But really, that doesn't come up too much in my hikes or my, camping. So that class is really all about fun. And that thing is so cheap that if it were to break or if I were to do something to harm it, again, I wouldn't be too upset about that. Now, the last category is probably my favorite. It was something I was just like, I'll just throw something in there. And then I kind of had an epiphany again. It would have to be something like this. The Kershaw Pub, costing $14.95. Now, this is an extension of the Meadowlark 2 category. I wish I had something to show you guys here. This feels like a podcast. I'm just talking to you. Man, I don't have enough small knives in my life. Anyway, I guess we'll just show this knife. The Kershaw Pub is a friction folder, so it does not lock, so it'll be even more legal than this knife if I was going to some oppressive state or oppressive knife law state. But it also has a bottle opener on it. I mean, who doesn't like to have a brew? I mean, that's just weird. No, I wanted a bottle opener with me. This could be kind of a secondary EDC companion, to the Kershaw Knockout. So has that going for it as well. And it's a functional cutting tool for boxes and envelopes and things like that. And it's a non-intimidating knife. So if you were someplace that has an absolute restriction on knives and people see them as weapons, if you had that in your pocket, you could definitely argue it as a box cutter. You could argue it as a multi-tool. So the Kershaw Pub, or you could substitute the Kershaw Shuffle in here. They're around the same price, around the same design, except that the Shuffle is a liner lock. So that would be my last category. That extremely safe, multi-tool function, very small, very compact, and very easily carried last knife. And that total comes up to $149.03. So I'm under the $150 range. I have a dedicated EDC knife, a belt knife, a loaner / travel knife, a fun machete chopper, and lastly, a knife to crack open a beer. And I think that's how every video should end from here on out. So thanks to JT for giving me that idea, for putting that out there. That was really ingenious to come up with that. Of course, you could set that bar at all sorts of different, monetary values, but $150 is really the sweet spot because it makes you think about value, but you don't need to just, set it at 50 and like, oh, I'm just going to have to get a cheap folder and a Mora. You really had to put some thought into this, and it knocks out the things that you think you need, but you really don't. I mean, I have some awesome fixed blades in my collection, some some fairly big tools and some definitely overbuilt tools, and is that anything I really need? Well, obviously not if I pick things that aren't inherently overbuilt and extremely expensive. So thanks for making me think, JT. I hope you guys run with this idea. That'd be really cool if there was just a flurry of videos that came out from this, and everybody's comparing and contrasting what each other chose. So thanks for watching, guys, as always, and remember, have fun with your knives.